done to football. Football always wins at the end of the day.
Are there any times where you felt that a team in a tournament is just insanely lucky, and no matter what happens, destiny seems to be on their side to win the trophy? I mean, I can think of a few examples. For one, Portugal back in 2016 winning the Euros. They didn't win a single group game, got through as a third place team, went on to win the whole competition even though they didn't win a single game over 90 minutes. Everyone knew they weren't the best team, but there seemed to be something that said, this is Ronaldo's time. He's gonna win this one, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. More recently, Real Madrid's 2022 Champions League run, where they got past PSG in the round of 16, scraped by Chelsea in the quarterfinal, were totally outplayed by Man City in the semis and found a way to turn things around at the death again, and then outplayed by Liverpool in the final, they still win. Not that Real Madrid were not worthy winners that year, but it seemed as if they were just surviving the entire time and that luck was on their side. And the most recent example is probably Argentina's World Cup win in Qatar. So obviously they made hard work of the group stage in which they lost to Saudi Arabia, but then in the knockout rounds, they had a 2-0 lead against Australia that almost evaporated, but for a Lisandro Martinez tackle at the death and then an Emi Martinez save right before the final whistle. Then we know that crazy Netherlands game where they were up 2-0 and blew that lead and had to win on penalties. They had a comfortable match against Croatia, but then the final, I mean, 2-0 up, it goes to 2-2. 3-2 up in extra time, it's 3-3. And then if Emi Martinez doesn't come up with the save of his life on Randall Colomwani, Messi doesn't win the World Cup, and the whole entire story is different. But it felt like destiny was on all these squad sides. And that's how it feels for Cote D'Ivoire right now at the AFCON. So I'm going to break down in this video just how lucky they are to be in the semifinal and why I think that the football gods just seemingly want them to win. So let's start first with this quarterfinal against Mali. So the Malians were very ready for this match. They came in charged up. They've been playing well in the tournament, and they don't really have any pressure. Now in this match, Mali, from the very start, looked the better side. They looked more motivated, more intense. They looked the most likely side to score, and after 8 minutes, it looked like they were going to get a penalty. There's a corner kick, it gets floated in. There's 2 headers. The ball goes out to the top of the 18. Haidara hits a volley, and Niakate makes a sliding shot. It looks to hit the arm of the defender, and so we get appeals and eventually a VAR review. Now, when I saw like one replay of this, I was like, well, that's a penalty. There is no question. There's not even any subjectivity to it. This is a clear handball, and yeah, Mali are going to have a spot kick. Referee goes to the monitor, and this check is taking way too long. Like, you'd think this is so obvious. He comes back out on the field, waves away the calls for a penalty, and puts his arm up saying offside. I'm like, what? Where? Now, when Haidara hits the volley, Niakate is in an offside position. That's true. But it gets blocked by one Ivorian defender and then hits another. By this time, he has got himself onside, shoots, it hits the arm. Now, there's an interpretation of offside here that I do not agree with. He's not actively in the play immediately after the shot. It actually gets blocked and then ricochets off another defender. If the defenders are playing the ball backwards, that shouldn't be offside. So, look, in my opinion, Ivory Coast gets way off the hook on this. It should have been a penalty after 8 minutes. We play on. Good thing this didn't end up mattering too much because Mali would get a penalty just a few minutes later. Lassine Sinayoko breaking into the box. He's brought down by Kosunu. There's really no argument about this. It's a penalty. And I don't know why it's not Sinayoko taking it. He, I thought, was the main guy. Adama Traore, not that one. He steps up, and Fofana makes an outstanding save down low to his left. You're already thinking, wow, things seem to really be going the Ivory Coast way here. But they still weren't playing well. Mali were the more aggressive team in the first half. They were better, and their pressure paid off in another way. Kosunu brings down Sinayoko again, this time at the top of the box. It's a second yellow card right before halftime, and the Ivory Coast are now down to 10 men. When this red card went out, you could tell everyone was like really worried because Mali were the better team, and that was when they were both 11v11. Now, how on earth are the Ivory Coast going to survive the second half? I don't think anyone's really that confident that if they go behind, they will certainly create the chances to come back. It didn't feel like that. And then Nenny Dorgeles scores one of the goals of the tournament. This is a fantastic strike. It's a worthy winner, really, and at this point, the Ivorians look dead and buried. Players on the bench, fans, everyone thought, we're done. At this point now, the Ivorians are just going to have to throw everything at it, and they were actually dangerous from time to time on counterattacks and set pieces, and Mali did not do a very good job of managing the game. They were turning it over a little too much, not keeping possession well enough, and they were giving away corners and especially free kicks in dangerous areas. So the Ivorians started to push and push. Oumar Diakité comes on. He's been a real spark for them all tournament. Simon Adingra, also who had an impact coming off the bench against Senegal. 4 minutes after Adingra comes on, he levels the match. But this goal is so lucky. He's tiptoeing into the box, doing a good job to not lose the ball, ends up laying the ball off to Seko Fofana. He shoots, the ball is blocked by Kouyaté. It immediately ricochets into Adingra's stomach and falls right in front of him. He lunges, smashes it home, and somehow it's 1-1. The shot could have been blocked and gone out for a corner kick, and who knows what would have happened really, but the fact that it fell right in front of him like this is so fortunate, and it totally saves the day. It's wild scenes in the stadium. The Malian players can't believe it. They thought they'd done everything right, and now we're going to go to extra time. Now, this AFCON has been awesome for late drama. I mean, I mentioned this in the group stage. There were so many matches where teams just got a lead, and they blew it right at the end of the game. So we go to extra time. Sebastien Haller hit the crossbar in the first half, but then the Ivory Coast almost conceded a comical own goal late in the second period, and then the big moment comes. It's the 120th minute +1. Diakité wins a free kick out wide, and it's a massive opportunity. The ball in is a good one, but Mali win the initial header. It goes out, and Seko Fofana hits a volley. Diakité is there to flick it home and cause complete pandemonium. Now, if you break down this goal, for me, Yves Bissouma is the one to blame. You can see him here at the top of the penalty area, and when the ball comes in and is then headed out, he is just watching it. He's not paying attention to the fact that Seko Fofana is the only player that can be dangerous if there is a clearing header. And he just reacts late. Fofana is able to get a volley off, but this ball is not going in. It's either getting blocked by a defender or easily saved by the goalkeeper. Diakité's there, though, and has a very good, clever flick. It's 2-1, and that's it. Game's pretty much over. It's total chaos in the stands. I mean, the celebrations from the Ivorian players, the bench, everyone. It's just out of control. Diakité in celebration takes his shirt off. He had already been booked, so he gets a second yellow card. That puts him out for the semifinal. That's a big blow. But also the despair from the Mali players, coaching staff. I mean, this is brutal. Seeing manager Eric Schell talking to his players, trying to console them, but also himself being consoled by his own staff. They're pouring a water bottle just down his neck here. I mean, you can see the emotions. This is tough. I can really only imagine how robbed they felt because they did everything they could as well as they could. And the Ivory Coast, they just did not play well. They just took their opportunities when they came, and luck just went their way in a bunch of different instances. And this luck has, I guess, just kind of been there all tournament long. So what is the moment where this all happened? Maybe it was the sacking of the manager. Yeah, that's right. The Ivory Coast did something that, from my research, has never been done. They sacked their manager, Jean-Louis Gasset, after the 4-0 capitulation against Equatorial Guinea. Now, they were right to feel they were probably done. A lot of things needed to go their way. They had 3 points and a -3 goal difference. It wasn't going to be hard for other teams to better that. Ghana had a 2-0 lead against Mozambique. All they had to do was hold on, and they gave up 2 goals in stoppage time to draw, which left them with just 2 points, and so they were out. Also, Mauritania beating Algeria. Mauritania had never won a match in AFCON, have never made it to the knockouts. This is the first time, and they beat one of the top 5 teams in Africa. South Africa, then, that no one expected anything from, they held the Tunisians to a draw to eliminate them. And then there was just one more result that needed to go the Ivorians' way. Morocco needed to beat Zambia. A draw wouldn't have done. Morocco got the victory, and so just like that, the Cote D'Ivoire qualify for the knockout rounds. So because they somehow stay in the tournament, this actually means that this is the first time that a federation have sacked their manager at an international competition, and the team is actually still in the tournament. I looked, I Googled it, I even asked ChatGPT. I could not find another example of this happening. If there is an example of this, please let me know. So MS Faye, a former player, under-23 coach, and Jean-Louis Gasset's assistant, takes over, and all luck seems to change. In the round of 16 against Senegal, they concede early, and though they played very well in that match, They didn't really look like scoring much themselves. They weren't creating great opportunities, and they're bailed out by Edouard Mendy charging Nicolas Pepe, conceding a penalty. They equalize, they go through extra time, go to penalties, and then they win the shootout. They will have to be good against the Democratic Republic of the Congo, who are a talented and tough side. They're not going to be easy to beat, and they're very much going to be ready to cause an upset. And if they do make it past them, they will probably play Nigeria, who have been the most solid team in the tournament. If that's the final, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying that the football is going to be exhilarating, but the Ivory Coast have shown us the drama is always on. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Sebastian North. This is Campfire Football. Take it easy.